Are you looking for a different kind of podcast? How about informative and clean? It will make you laugh. Scout and Trey, yeah, that's what we do. We got a little funny thing, keeping it true. Hey, we take your topics and all your ideas and bring in a guest and we answer them there. Then we make a freestyle rap and do it for you. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, that's what we do. Yep, flows for you, flows for you. This is what we do now. This is what we do. Say it flows for you, flows for you. This is what we do now. This is what we do. Say it flows for you, flows for you. This is what we do now. This is what we do. Say it flows for you, flows for you. Well, hello, guys. I hope you're having a great day. I am having a good day, and I just remembered I need to check my levels, and I haven't done that yet. So I am checking that now as I talk to you, and it looks like everything's good to go. So I don't need that, and I do need this, and then I go there. All right, cool. And I am excited about our guest today, Pastor Nelly. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm awake. I just finished doing a podcast about fatherhood and
Awesome.
dating.
Oh, wow.
Not the two together, but
Right. No, I understand.
questions about fatherhood, but then also about what we should do for dating. A friend is starting wants to start like a dating group where
Mhm.
it encourages encouragement over trying to find the perfect person.
Oh, nice.
And so it was interesting. It was a good talk. It was at
Cool.
my friend Derek's podcast, where it's normally with his sister. And so I had to run back, do the thing. It's been a good day.
Cool.
Did you have a fun day there in Washington?
Today was release day, so I released episode 12 today. That was exciting. I got that out, and Tuesday, once I released the episode, I forced myself to rest a little bit, and so just relaxing a little bit today. And it was the end of season 1, so next it's just going to be studying a lot, writing up my scripts for the second season that'll start in January. So
I was just ask, how long of a break are you going to take?
just the 2 weeks, just for Christmas and New Year's, so I can focus on stuff with my family and with my church, and then first week of January, that Tuesday the 7th, I think I'll hit the ground running. Start season 2 will be on cryptid. So
That's cool. That's cool. And so you actually haven't. Did you have any prepped? Oh, we'll talk about that in a second.
cool.
Yeah. Now I just want to talk podcast, but that's not what we're gonna do first. First, what I did is I put together a funny quiz, kind of
Awesome.
funny quiz about NF lyrics. So we'll see how. So that's one of your more favorite musicians. Is that correct? NF.
Yes.
And what, like in general, what is your favorite kind of music to vibe to, or to like in general, like what's your favorite music?
Lyricists, I like hip hop lyricists. Amaze me, so that's why I really like what he does. So
Yeah. Do you feel like as you grew older that you listen to more non hip hop, or do you just stick hip hop all the time?
as I got older, I listened to more non hip hop. I listen to a lot of instrumentals since I'm studying. Like 90% of the time, I'll listen actually to a lot of orchestral stuff, believe it or
Sure.
not, because it just helps me to focus. So when I'm doing my sermon prep and script writing, I'm usually listening to music that has no lyrics so that I can focus on what I'm working on. But when I'm in the car, that's when I switch it up to NF. So
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm a big fan of lo-fi hip hop.
nice.
And so that for me, that's one of those things where it's really just boom bap beats, but like chill. And so I find that to help me when I'm doing stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, I know. But in general, lately I've been listening to a lot more like happy rock music or happy pop rock. I don't know what it is, where they have rap and they have like a Connor Price or Nick D, those kind of things.
Mhm.
Mainly just because they're happy.
Yeah.
But in general, it's funny how my taste has changed. I still am a hip hop head and I still love old school hip hop, but there is a part of me, especially for doing this podcast, I try to learn new flows. So when I'm freestyling, I don't just do the same
Right.
delivery every
Cadence.
time,
Yeah.
you know? And especially since I work with kids a lot of the time, they really could care less about old school boom bap
Mhm.
delivery. They want you to sound like the newest, Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And which is weird to me. Like as a rapper, I'm like, that's such a weird flow.
It sounds like he's whispering to you at all times.
Right. Yeah, not my favorite.
But I mean, I'd tell you if that mustard thing wasn't stuck in my head for weeks. Have you, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, ding, 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 mustard. Yeah. So fun. And especially as an MC, how many times I've done a dumb lay-in like that where I'm just bored and they'll just cut them out. And this dude did it, and now
That's
it's
it.
everybody's favorite thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So so we're gonna start with a quiz.
Cool.
Let me get my cool quiz graphic ready to go. Here's DJ Sandovix isn't here to do the quiz, but hey, I still have the logo to do it. So here you go. This NF quiz. Some of these are weird, some of these are not. You should figure it out. How well do you know NF's bars? You call it music, I call it therapy. What is your therapy? A, listening to NF on repeat. B, screaming into a pillow. C, ice creams straight out of the tub. Or B, talking to your plants because they don't interrupt.
Definitely A. Listen to NF on repeat.
Yep, and that is the correct answer, obviously. And number two, if money were where you find happiness, you'll always be poor. What is your secret? What is your secret to happiness? A, watching cat videos. B, organizing your fridge for no reason. C, binging NF discography. Or D, hoping for a snack after very emotional breakdown.
I guess C.
These are pretty obvious, though, what the answers are.
Right?
You see what's happening. I'm high off the music. My head's in the clouds. What gets your heads in the clouds? A, overthinking the text you sent 5 hours ago. B, coffee, so much coffee. C, a solid NF beat drop. Or D, wondering if penguins have knees.
It wants me to say C, but I gotta say B because I'm in coffee state, man. You cut me, I'll bleed coffee. I got coffee right now. So
Now, moving to Washington, did that make you drink more coffee, or were you already when you were in Texas? Were you already a coffee guy?
I was already a coffee person, but it got worse here for sure because the coffee's so good.
Yeah, no. As I said, I have friends that moved here from Washington, and they actually have their own roasting situation because they can't
I
have
believe it.
they can't have coffee if it's not well roasted. I'm like, wow, that's insane.
See, I'm not a coffee snob, but I definitely love me some coffee. So
Yeah, no, that's fair. Okay, so here you go. Why do we waste so much time on things that don't matter? Pick your ultimate time waster. Scrolling TikTok until 3 a.m. B, wondering what you'd say if in an NF music video audition. C, rearranging your playlist for every possible mood. Or D, rereading your text from 2012.
I guess B.
Like, the best part about all these are just dumb. So it's like, really, you can answer whatever you want. I feel like I wonder if I would want to read my text from 2012. I don't feel like that was a good year. I don't think it was a bad year.
I
don't
can't
know if it
even
was a
think
good.
back that far.
I honestly might have met you in 2012.
I think we did. I know we've met before, but
Yeah,
I don't remember what year it was.
It was probably 2008. That was when I was doing stuff all the time in San Antonio. Was 2006, 2007, 2008, I think.
That was before I went solo too. I was still in a group back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but I met you. So I met you when you were married. So when did you get married?
Oh, okay. Well, then I had already gone solo before I got married, I had gone solo. So
yeah,
man,
because I met you when I met your wife for the first time.
Okay.
She was performing, so you were just there.
Okay,
cool.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, it all blurs together. It really does. I know we've been married 15 years now. So, oh man, math is hard.
I wonder what answer this. I wonder what question this was for. We're gonna ask Zeb. What question was this for? Was it or ZEB line? What question was the answer A? Let's see. Let's look at the A answers. Call it music. Oh no. Listening to NF on repeat. Watching cat videos, or overthinking text from 5 years ago, or scrolling through TikTok through AM. I'm pretty sure it was the NF on repeat one.
Oh,
But what do you think? What do you think? ZEB line was. Oh, there it is. Cat videos. I
cat
was
video.
wrong.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Was the cat videos?
Nice.
Funny.
Thank you for the interaction. That was very entertaining.
Yes,
All right,
thank
we got
you.
one more
Okay, cool.
dumb question. Here it is. I'm not in the mood to laugh, but if you were here, I'd crack a smile. What's the worst joke that could still make you smile? Is it A, what do you call a pile of cats? A meow train. Why do skeletons fight each other? They don't have the guts. C, knock knock, who's there? NF who? Not funny. D, did you hear about the NF fan who didn't overthink? Me neither. Or E, the funniest.
That one. That's the one. I laughed for real on that one. I didn't even have to pretend. That was good. An NF fan that doesn't overthink. I'm like, oh, I feel attacked. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So you won. You got all the quiz, all the quiz questions correct, and now you are the winner. You get yourself a golden donut designed by my son.
That's awesome.
There you go. That's one of our merch that he wants to release is a golden donut T-shirt.
It looks good.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I laugh at all your different animations for your thing, and then I want to tell you that one of the smartest moves when using AI art, which is what you're using correctly for your thing, is actually what you should do is you should get toaster animations that are green screened. And get them doing all the different things, so then you can have the same toaster in every single picture, but doing different things. So then you can just cut and paste the toaster into their toaster picture that's on there, and so then you'll have a consistent toaster, and you could sell the merch of your actual toaster.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna pick your
after
brain.
looking,
Yeah,
and you can call me out. You can talk to me afterwards.
For
but when I
sure.
was watching all, because I mean, it's hilarious how consistent the background art is on your AI thing, but the toaster is not consistent. Like all the different demons look like the same guy from every single one, which is weird. But man, they can't get the dancing toaster the same anytime. So the smart move is what you do is you actually use that same whatever you call it, dancing toaster running, then you put dancing, and then in that same one you put dancing toaster running, stop, running left, running right, jumping, all in the same one. So then you're gonna have the consistent image doing all those things.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick your brain after the show on that, because that's a good idea, because that is one thing, because it's a one-man show and I don't have a background in graphic design. AI has helped a lot. And
oh no, totally understand. If you hadn't already guessed, the quiz was an AI put together quiz.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought I was gonna spend time on this, and I was like, I'm just gonna let ChatGPT come up with a great quiz, and that was actually better than I thought. That
especially toward the end. Yeah, they each got better.
Yeah, I was like, wow, these are really bad jokes, but I've done worse jokes, so it's no big deal. And so it's so funny how that works. But anyways, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm excited to talk about your podcast, the Dancing Toaster podcast. The moment I read the Dancing Toaster podcast, I knew the reference because I am a giant Ghostbusters fan also.
Cool.
And so I definitely know Ghostbusters 2, the dancing toaster with the slime in it, and that's great. And so it's so funny and then when I listened to the intro episode of your thing, you explain this, which I think is appreciative, because it's like, hey, this is this is why I do the thing that I do, and this is the funny part. But I
Yeah.
thought that was cool. So I'm
Thank
excited. And then again, I think I told you this already, but just to see, just in the episodes that you've done so far, like the growth in learning how to edit, how to add the music, just really good.
Thank you.
I
No, for
think
sure.
that,
I feel it.
and I do love reading the comments in your YouTube, just like the random people that are like, "This is amazing. Your voice is annoying, but I love you."
Oh, I saw that. That one had me going. I was like, oh, thanks, I think, but then later on, I got like other ones that were like, you know what? I like it now. It's like, well, I'm glad I grew on you. I don't.
Well, no, but you do find it's funny because you did find your consistent. You found like there were twinges in the first one where that voice existed, but it wasn't the constant voice. And then when that constant voice comes in, it's like, oh, this is exactly what it needs to be. Like I need that storyteller voice all the time.
Yeah.
Because I think what really works for your shtick. So
Yeah,
how
for
did you
sure.
get in? How did you get into that? Like how did this cryptic ghost demon then talking about Bible podcast even become a thing?
So I was a youth pastor for 10 years when I was in Texas, and kids are awesome. Teenagers are awesome, and they ask wonderful questions. So I did a weekly Q&A, and I did bi-weekly because I would do one at the Christian school I worked at as well as the church. So I'm doing 2 Q&As a week, and Yoda says, beautiful the mind of a child is. And so they ask great questions, and they would ask about, ghosts and aliens and all this stuff. And I've always been interested in that. Love the Ghostbusters, love the X-Files, all that. So it was awesome. And we talk about it all the time. And then when I become a senior pastor planting a church, adults they have these questions, but they're a little more afraid to ask them. But one thing that has been resounding has been like, I'm so glad somebody's talking about these things. Now, I'm not the only one in this space for sure, but not everybody knows that like this is a thing, that there are Christians that are addressing some of these more peculiar topics. And then I think people also appreciate that I am trying to address them from not only a faith-based perspective, but a pastoral perspective as well. So yeah, I've always wondered about these things. My students did back in the day, and now I do it for the grown-ups that are too afraid to ask. And it's been really, really awesome. The feedback and just the gratitude that people have saying, "Hey, I'm glad to be able to fit. How can I think about these topics and my faith? How can I reconcile those two things? Because some of them, it gets kind of scary. You're like, wait, what would I do if I found out tomorrow that X was real? Like, oh, I want to equip people to be able to respond to that in a biblical way." So
Yeah, that's cool. As I said, it's entertaining. It's been interesting to see the different topics that you're bringing up and what you're doing. It's a cool thing. Like it really is interesting in the idea of it. And it's like it's funny because one of my favorite podcasts is this. It's a D&D live play podcast called Adventure Zone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where 3 brothers and their dad play Dungeons and Dragons, and one of their and they do different seasons where they play a different kind of game, or they don't do Dungeons and Dragons. And there's one that's actually like a cryptic season where they actually go through one of the people own a cryptic museum, and then they live that life where they're like dealing with vampires and all that stuff during this game. And I just really loved that topic in that. So it's fun to like listen to like kind of the fun perspectives and then the biblical combined together, which is cool. It reminds me of like a dumb idea I had as a kid or as a young man, where I was like, wouldn't it be fun if I just took insane headlines from the Bible and then just posted them, like man talks to donkey, or man blinds himself to blind man kills hundreds of people at one time, just random, like almost to try to people realize how crazy the Bible is.
there's some wild stuff in there.
And it's like, no, those things are like, you might deal with those things now, but they actually have them in the Bible too. But I never went farther than that idea. So it's funny to like actually be able to do it in a podcast form, like have
Right.
that insane story, compared to like, and now you're more led on one story compared to going different things, right?
Well, and that's been interesting trying to find out what works. I mean, because the earlier episodes were tackling a theme or a specific topic, like okay, giants, boom, and that can go in all kinds of directions. And then the later episodes, I would find a specific case and then focus in on that. And I think as I got the love from the storytelling aspect, I was like, well, how much better could the storytelling be if it was a little more focused on one particular story that I could go in depth on, as opposed to like the earlier giant stuff. The stories were like snapshots, very brief. Whereas I just want the last, it was a two-parter to end the first season, where the first part was really all story, and then this last episode was more theology than anything else. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out that part. And maybe I don't figure that out. Like I kind of like going back and forth, but every once in a while, like cover a major topic. Like we'll do an episode on vampires pretty soon, and I think that will be the early episodes lay a theological foundation, and then once we have the large themes, now we take it into a specific case and try to see how we can fit those things. So that's kind of where my mind is going with it right now. But I'm super flexible with it. Just paranormal topics at the end of the day are what I'm going to be addressing. So whether it's tackling a few at a time or one specific big one, maybe I'll just go back and forth. We'll see what happens.
Zedros Cray had a headline: "Man turns into werewolf Sasquatch."
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I don't think that was in the Bible.
Well, it's crazy because Nebuchadnezzar gets cursed.
Oh, no, you're right. That's a good one.
And he looks really weird. And I'm going to be using that in in season 2. We're going to touch on that for sure as I deal with cryptids. I haven't decided the order because you got Bigfoot, you got Mothman, you got Dogman, you got reptilians. Like, oh man, that's going to be a fun one as well. So there. Lots in store. One of my favorite channels, it's not a faith-based one, but the Y-Files, and that guy covers all kinds of stuff. So definitely not short of material, at all. But I am short on time.
ZB Line answered the same question as it happening, and then realized, oh, they already said it.
Yep. King Nebby, he got cursed, and it's wild, that transformation.
Oh yeah, that's a crazy. Well, that whole story is insane. It's that I used to make a joke with my friend that I could teach any biblical principle by using the book of Judges.
Judges is wild, man. Yeah, there's so much there.
But I would be like, any moral aspect of your life you need to fix, I can answer it in Judges, which is not true, but it was a funny bit. But I and most of it, I would just lean on the story of Samson, because that was my favorite one to go with.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was trying to figure out what that said. I thought they wanted me to move. Zandros said, "Could you move over Could you go over Mothman in detail and find the extremely interesting haunted cosmos tied to it?" Tried to,
yeah. Yeah, that's for sure on the list for season 2 is an episode on Mothman. That's going to be a challenging one for sure. So I haven't decided the order. I'm kind of working on that as I take this 2-week break. It's not really a break. It's really just going to be me hitting the scripts hard, studying and writing, and yeah,
and being a good dad and husband.
Well, yeah. Well, being a good husband. Don't have any kids.
Oh, no kids.
Yeah, we've been trying. We've been trying for 15 years, and it hasn't happened. So, all this is, I'm just a man child. All these toys, these are not my kids. This is this big kid right here.
That's hilarious. Well, that's sorry. That was more me talking about myself there, but I.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I assumed you had kids, and I was wrong on that assumption. So
no worries.
But I'm taking 2 weeks off myself for my podcast for that same reason. It's like, all right, I just can't do this while I'm trying to do the thing. But hey, well, does that mean that do you get that's a question. As a man child, do you get like sweet, like animated like gifts? Like Ninja Turtle toys and whatnot for Christmas?
Oh man, my wife is totally accepting of me being a big kid. So like I get fun junk all the time. I mean she's super supportive. So I will get like I'm got my Dragon Ball right now. So
Yeah, I feel you. I'm a
so
big
yeah,
anime
no, she
guy.
does, and she'll pick on me only in that I've switched up some of my. I like a lot of things, but the things that I've liked have kind of changed over the years. I used to be really big into comic books, Western comic books, Marvel, DC, but over the last few years, things have just gotten so ridiculous that I've lost interest in that, and actually sold off a lot of collections just because I was like, this is tired. This isn't what I grew up with. So kind of focus. Ghostbusters has never changed. Never changed. I've always kept that stuff. But I got into anime this year, which is really weird. My friends were trying to get me, and I said I will never. And well, here's my Dragon Ball hoodie. So yeah, I guess never say never.
Yeah, no, that's a fun one. I said I finally watched all of One Piece.
Really? That's
Yeah.
a lot. I'm scared to tackle that because that's so long.
It's easier than you think. Well, but I
Really?
cheat because I use dub, and
Ah,
because I had a kid. And so what happened was, is I was holding a baby, and I was like, "This would be the best time for me to watch One Piece." So then I would just have it on all day, and then
that's
I'm doing
amazing.
like editing or video, or I'm making graphics for people, so I can have it on. And and the reason I keep looking up is because I have a TV above me,
You're
so I
good.
can watch TV and then work. And
That's
so, no,
awesome.
as I'm explaining myself, I'm looking up at the TV that would have the cartoons on or
That's
the
awesome.
anime. And so, but it was a little wrong in that I watched. I think I had gotten through like 800 episodes in like a month, so that was a problem that I needed to deal with.
That's hilarious. I tore through Attack on Titan really fast, and when my friend was like, they were having to wait years on end for the story to finish because he was like, this thing started years ago, and we would have to wait years in between seasons. I was like, I didn't have to wait at all. I was just like, oh, I can get one more in. It'll be all right.
Yeah. Now, Zebby line in my joke, I try to stay away from those Judges 19 situations for the humor of it. But yes, there's so many messed up things happening in Judges where it's like I can't believe that that's a thing. Um, but it's interesting how it works. And as what was it? Here we go. Are we talking about Alice says, hey, are we talking about Jacob Esau, one of them that was a hairy beast man? Sorry, I'm late. That is a great reference though.
No, it is because so Alice, we were talking about Nebuchadnezzar when he was cursed by God, but Esau is a fascinating individual because when you think about how Jacob had to trick his dad, like I got hairy arms, but like the way that he tricked him was he straight took animal fur
Yeah.
in order to trick his dad. So I'm like, that's a hairy beast. Like that man was had a carpet on his arm if they were able to just take animal skin and put it on there. So like what does that mean for Esau and for his line for the Edomites? So yeah,
That's
that
hilarious. So
definitely
they were
something that will
werewolves.
be looked into.
Is what you're saying is that they were werewolves. It's obviously
It's confirmed. Werewolves confirmed, right?
done. The Ebonites are werewolf people.
There it is.
But it's interesting because no, I mean, now the funny part is I've definitely met that furry of people in life. So I guess when I read that, I wasn't that confused by it. I was like, no, I've met people that it was like, do you want to take off that fur coat, dude?
Yeah, and well, and even those that have isn't lycanthropy. There are those that that the hair even covers their face, like not just like the beard, like I have, but I mean their whole face is covered as well. There are people that have that, and back when there were the circuses and things like that, you'd see them, and but yeah,
and that's how those most of these things happen is that there's some truth to them, right? There's some
for
truth
sure.
to that piece, and then it's become its own thing. And it's interesting how cryptics and all that stuff works with that. Xandro said he's 1,400 episodes, and that They're on 482, which is
Wow.
amazing. Now, one thing I would say is if you were to watch One Piece, Nelly, one way to speed your process up is to get a no fillers, a fillers list, and it will actually tell you what episodes are just filler episodes or they have nothing
Oh.
to do with the storyline. And so you know to skip those episodes. I didn't know to do this until like episode 900. And I was like, oh, I should probably, because there's some episodes, there's like 4 or 5 episodes that are just to prep the new movie because they release a One Piece movie like every year.
Okay.
That have nothing to do with the storyline. It's its own thing. And so, but yeah, no, and there are so many us that I've spent so much time on anime. There are so many fun ones. There are actually a few ones that are more interesting than you would think. There's one that's like was it reincarnated to teach people about God in a godless world.
Oh wow.
And there's some like that or other ones that are spiritually focused, which are interesting. Or then there's movies. There's like oh man, I forget his name. There's this Rioni Kenshin, which is an anime about a swordsman. But there is a full arc in like the 3rd season where they're fighting Christians because the Christians are evil in this situation. So it's interesting. Sometimes because anime, is from Japan, right? And so you're gonna have a different aspect of
Total different part of the worldview. Yeah. Yeah. So I gotta get AI tips from you, and I'll get some anime recommendations from you.
But Xandros does not believe in that. He believes that the no filler list is cheating.
He said, no, sir, don't do that.
No, that's cheating. I had to do it. Oh, well, because what happens is you'll start watching it and you're like, wait, what does this have? Did something happen? Like, how do I not know what happened here? And then you realize, oh, it's because it's a different storyline and they're grown up now. And
okay. X-Files would do that back in the day, is that they had their main arc, but then they'd have what they call a Monster of the Week type episode where it'd have a story where they'd follow some type of cryptid that had nothing to do with the main kind of extraterrestrial major storyline that they were working on.
Now, have you found the community that you're building help you build the stories? Or have you felt like it's just kind of your own thing and just hope that the people find it?
Right now, it's as far as like the stories and the ideas. Season 1, a lot of that was already up here, had an idea of what I wanted to do. But as people get on board and get excited about the show, I do get recommendations. I do get questions. Hey, are you ever going to talk about this or that? And it's like, some of it I already had in mind to talk about it. Others, it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Or it's like, maybe I already had an idea, but the way they're asking it, I was like, hey, that ties into this. So that will open that episode up. Because sometimes it's like, man, I could talk about that for 30 minutes, but for an hour and 30 minutes, I don't know. But seeing it from other people's perspectives, getting those questions and recommendations, it's what one big thing. There's a podcast called The Bump, and Bo Kennedy is the host of that show. And when he found mine, somebody had recommended in a Facebook group to him my show, because I'd referenced him, because I'd give him a shout out because he had talked about a particular topic that I was covering an episode on. I said, hey, Bo from The Bump inspired this episode, kind of thing. And he listened to it, and he has a larger audience than I do. After he referenced the show, I mean, I was doing like 1,000 in it started in October. I had about 1,000 people check me out in October. And then in November, it was the same. But then now in December, it's almost triple that. Like,
That's crazy.
I've blown past 5,000 today. So by the end of the month, it'll be 6,000. So I am just ecstatic.
That's
I'm
amazing.
super excited. Where I'm struggling though is I do want to create a community around the show too. So I'm trying to get, the people that check me out on Spotify and Apple. Well, they're not necessarily following me on Facebook or on Instagram. And I'm like, no, come on over here. Come on over here too. Cause I want to be able to talk to you on days, not Tuesday. I want to throw surveys out and questions. So sorry, go ahead.
This is why people have Discord servers, where they run a Discord server for your situation. So then you can have one place where everybody goes and to give their information, and so you can kind of talk about them. And then you can be like, hey, yo, we talked about this on the Discord server. This kind of inspired it. And again, this is how. Or people do Facebook groups in that same situation, where I have a friend that does a podcast and they have a Facebook group for their fans. So then all of them know to go over there to talk.
And maybe that's something I should do. I'm nervous about doing a Discord because you need moderation with Discord, because you never know kind of what you can get. But with a Facebook group or something, that might be something I'm a little more familiar with than a Discord. But yeah. Oh, Zeb, what platform benefits you most?
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, with right now, the majority of the listeners are Apple and Spotify. I have the YouTube is slowly growing, but it's audio format. It's like Orson Welles' War of the Worlds. Like, I want to stay kind of video is going to be too complicated with what I'm trying to achieve with the storytelling, with the sound effects, with the music. I like that kind of, again, that Orson Welles feel of listening to the old radio shows like War of the Worlds. So I don't foresee the shows ever becoming a video format. So YouTube is going to continue to just be a still with the logo, because it's a highly produced show that I do. So yeah, I don't know. Right now, Instagram, ton of people on Instagram right now. That's been growing the fastest, but Instagram is annoying and the algorithms suck. And so even I'll put a post out, but the engagement is so bad. And I'm like, I got over 200 people following me in a few weeks, but no, they don't get to see my stuff because it's oversaturated and they're pushing other things on there. So I don't know, definitely need to kind of look at some of those things and kind of gauge. It's just been hard because I'm producing constantly. I'm studying and writing the script. And if I'm not writing, I'm recording. And then after I record, I got to clean up the audio. Then I have to add all the fun stuff. And it's very labor intensive. It really is. And it's a one-man show.
Yeah.
And with the church, that's, it's like, I got my hands full, but I love what I can't complain because I love what I'm doing. I really do.
I have this funny story I'll tell you in a second here. We have here's a great comment. I want you to read it. It's from Zandros. Read that one.
Discord dancing toasters, legendary. I will be an ultra toasty. Yes. Well, because we threw around names on Facebook as far as what, and I did a video on Instagram that was like, and I don't know what to call my listeners. Are we toasters? Are you toasties? And somebody said, no, we should be Pop-Tarts. And I was like, what?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Still throwing that around.
Here in San Antonio, this church opened a food park in their parking lot.
Oh, wow.
And when I went, me and my friends went just to go check it out. And it was, non people that go to the church on the weekdays, and then just closed on Sundays so they can have events there. But when I talked to the guy, he actually, he's the pastor of the church. He also runs the food truck for the food thing. And then he also has an extremely successful medical sales thing where he makes bottles for medical things overseas and then ships them to the US. And so this dude's doing all this stuff. Oh, and he rents out luxury cars.
Oh my gosh.
And so homie is like, I don't know how he does all of that stuff, but the whole food park to get people to enjoy your church community is a pretty smart move. And in Washington, that would be a sick dude. But do not start a food truck. I'm not trying to cause issues.
My wife would tell me the same thing. She's like, you don't need anything new right now. And I do. My heart is to grow the show to such a degree that I don't even. Right now, the church is really small, but even as it grows, if I could not even have to take a salary from the church and be able to sustain myself via the show, style, that would be my heart, to not even have to. That means everything that the church has, we can use for ministry and fun things like that, like a food truck or something, thinking outside the box. If I could, that's my heart, grow the show to such a point to where I can sustain myself, and the church, whatever the church brings in, we use for furthering the ministry.
Yeah, one of my friends in Corpus, he actually runs a a really successful Airbnb thing.
Yeah.
And he's able to fully pay for he's able to do a church for free, and he teaches people about the whole tent making thing, where the idea of building a community that can allow you to take care of your church, but actually you're making money some other way, so then it can totally be given to God and taken care of, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, that's my heart too.
And so that's cool. All right, sorry, we went off on a random tangent.
No, that's okay.
But and the other trick is to, if there's somebody in your community that's successful in those things, then asking for help. It's nothing wrong with, especially when you're a one-man show, if you trust somebody, it's nothing wrong with asking for help to help run one of your other things. You know what I mean?
Right.
And as you get bigger, you're going to have to really think about that. I don't think you have to worry about it now.
Right.
But,
yeah. Not now.
But it is a nice thing to. That's another good thing about building community, is building those relationships, and then you do have somebody you can trust in that situation. Which is cool. Now you talked about the future a little. Do you feel like your season 2 is going to be totally jump the shark situation, where it's totally different, or do you think it's going to be the same but like just more refined?
Refining has definitely taken place a lot. I found my voice. I found my style of show. Season 2 will be much like season 1. All that's really changing will be I'm going to change the topic. We covered a lot of supernatural stuff. It was very ghost and demon-y. After I laid a theological framework in the first few episodes, it was a lot of cases on hauntings and ghosts and then demons. I'm going to take a break from those topics entirely. Some people dig that, some don't. And some are dying for me to talk about cryptids. So season 2, because that's such a major topic, I'm going to dedicate the entire season to it. And by season, I probably about 12 episodes on cryptids, and each one dedicated to a different one. Although the big guy, Bigfoot, he might have to. That's a 2-parter, I think, because there are so many different theories and stories that can be told about him. So he'll probably be a 2-parter. But the other 10, I'd like to cover cryptids from kind of all over, and see how it goes. See it, again, tying them back to, does the Bible speak to that? Does any Second Temple literature speak to any of these phenomenon? And like you said earlier, there are some things that can explain some of them. There are natural explanations, material explanations to some of these things. But some of them, I like pointing out to people that there are things in the Bible that are surprising, and how the biblical writers thought about things is very different than how we do today. So that's fun to point out too. So the second season, it'll be focusing on cryptids because that's such a major topic. There's plenty to talk about. But my storytelling, that's a must. I love that part. I didn't think, if you would have told me even a year ago that I'd be doing this, I would have been like, come on. No, I'm not going to do that. But I've had so much fun doing it, and the storytelling has been, now I don't know how I got away with not doing this, not telling, and I guess preaching, there's some storytelling involved, but nowhere near to what I'm doing here with the production and all that. So, more of the same, but cleaning it up a lot. And I'd like to continue to expand my sound library and stuff so that it doesn't get stale, continuing to build that up. So it doesn't sound like, oh, he's using that song again, or, oh, there's that noise again, so.
That's funny. Have you felt, now I guess, I have 2 questions. I'm trying to
Sure.
decide which one would be better for the first. Do you ever fear that you're going to get stuck in a loop where you just have to do the same topic? Like, we're become so viral where you just become the Bigfoot guy and you just have to do Bigfoot every single time. Do you fear that, or do you go, if that works out, it works out? I'm not going to stress out about it.
Well, and I guess season 2 will find out if I'm going to get typecasted in that way, right? Because my episodes on ghosts and my episodes on hauntings and the Warrens, those were the most successful episodes in the first season. So if I get into cryptids and the downloads and the views plummet, then that'll tell me, like, okay, so the audience that I'm creating with this whole, show that's named after a Ghostbuster reference, maybe that's what they want to hear more about and focus on. I'm still going to stick to my layout for season 2 as far as cryptids go. but if it's not as successful, I may revert back to some of the themes that were very successful in the first season that I still enjoy talking about, and where it will become, I don't have to explain what they are over and over and over and over again after I lay the groundwork. So then it's like there are countless, this haunted castle, this haunted building, this ghost story from this part of the world, this, and it could become very where half the episode is me telling a story, the other half is kind of analyzing it and trying to think biblically about it. So we'll see how season 2 goes with cryptids, and if it's not as successful, if I don't get as much positive feedback, I know what people really enjoyed in the first season, and I have no problem with it. I enjoyed it. I know some of the demon stuff though creeps folks out, especially with how I add certain things. And I got people that tell me they listen to the show. They have to make sure it's during the daytime. They turn all the lights on. They open up all their blinds. I was like, I don't think I'm that scary at all. But but for some, especially when you're talking about demons, because a lot of people can disconnect the other topics, and well, that's out there. But then if you're a Christian, you already kind of accepted, like, this is very real, and I'm very afraid of this, and I don't want this to, so I was like, anyways, we'll see. I hope I don't get typecasted, because I would like to talk about, season 3 is when I plan on getting into extraterrestrials. I got so much. It's not material is not something I'm short on right now at all. It's time, and it's the amount of work that goes into each episode to make sure it's quality. But yeah, season 2 is cryptid, season 3 is extraterrestrial. So for those that are wondering where it's going, that's where it's going.
And you might have to you might learn in the at this season that you might have to throw in some ghost stories in between the
right, like the One Piece stuff. Like, if the ghosts can be the main thing, but then every once in a while cover a different topic. Who knows? So we'll see how the show develops. I'm open to see how the audience develops, how the community develops, and I do want to give the people what they want. This is yes, I want to teach people. As a pastor, my heart is to teach, but this is not a ministry. This is a podcast. This is a show. I do this for teaching, for entertainment, for fun, and to help Christians to think biblically about strange stuff. My favorite theologian, Dr. Michael Heiser, he's with the Lord now, but he'd say, if it's weird in the Bible, it's important. So I like taking people to the weird things in the Bible and showing it. Look at the explanatory power of this weird passage right here, So that's a really fun thing as well, when I don't get to see my audience, whereas when I'm at church, I get to see the little light bulb come on. I don't get to see that with the show, but I see it in the comment section. I see it in the reviews, so people are telling me like, oh my gosh, I've always wondered about that. Thank you. So man, that keeps me so motivated to keep, cool. Keep doing it.
It's interesting because it's like, that is an awesome thing, and that you get to do it. And I have a point. Do I remember? Do you ever find it bleed over into your sermons?
Oh man, for sure. I do two services a week, and Sunday is expository teaching. It's line by line, verse by verse. We pick a book, we start it, we go through it. But it took me 3 years to go through the book of Acts, and then we started the book of 1 Samuel, and so we're going through that. But on my midweek service, my Wednesday service, I'm a huge advocate of Q&A. I call it the School of Tyrannus. Paul, he'd rent out the School of Tyrannus, and it was more of a dialogue. It wasn't so much he talks and they listen. It was an opportunity for them to engage with the teachings that he was giving them and ask questions. So I do a Q&A every Wednesday with my church body, and they a lot of they know that I do the show. I told them that I was going to be doing it before I launched it, just because I was like, I don't know what the Lord is going to do with this, if anything, but I also want you to know I'm going to be talking about some weird stuff. I'm going to be saying some stuff that more traditional people might find a little, but they were like, hey, we love you, we trust you, and so, but they enjoy it too. They'll bring it in on Wednesdays. They'll be like, hey, I listened to the show. What'd you mean by that? And so it's like, hey, cool. Cool. I'm glad they benefit from it as well.
That's funny. Yeah, That's interesting as you talk about those topics and that stuff. It's like, does it become a part of service? Now, Zandros does say, do not change the intro.
Don't change it. Okay, all right. I that was the first complaint I ever got about the show was from my intro. Being that I have a hip hop background, I heard this beat and I loved it and I altered it. I added the crazy sci-fi paranormal stuff to it, and I loved it. And it's probably about a minute long. It's 60 seconds, and so. But the first complaint about the show was my friend. He had reached out to me. He's like, "Look, I love what you're doing, but man, the intro is really long." And I was like, in my mind, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, dog, there's a button you can just advance, like push that button a few times past the intro, you'll be all right, but I thank you for the feedback, and I'm glad you like the intro. I like it, and from a branding perspective, I really don't want to change it, if I'm being honest, because I want consistency, like you were mentioning with the toasters in my graphics, how much they change. I want a little bit of consistency. That's why, I do have a logo for the podcast that I really like. But with the graphics for each episode, they change vastly, and it would be better to have some consistency for the graphics. And in keeping with consistency, I like my intro and would like to keep it and keep using it. So maybe I just leave it for season 2, not touch it. So
Yeah, I had to learn to shorten my intro, mainly because of engagement purposes. Is when you would see that I would lose a lot of people at the beginning. Because I
really,
realized, but when I first had my intro, like I'm a rapper, right? So I just wrote a song, so it was like a full a minute and a half song, and so I saw the engagement go bloop, and so then I cut it down to like 40 seconds, so I could get enough information, but it was not too long. It probably, some people would rather have like a 15-minute second one, but I was like, this is how I feel. It's a compromise for how much short it needs to be, but I still need to tell the story as a musician.
yeah,
So I just stuck with it. My son says I need to change the song, so I'm working on a new version, but
cool.
it's so funny how that works. Anyways, that's a funny that you got that input, because I learned that I had that same information happen, but I looked at it logistically. So that's cool. That is fun. I said I'm excited about. That's so cool that you've had the growth in listeners. How many times I've had to talk with somebody who's like, don't give up if nobody's listening to your podcast after 10 episodes. You don't have that problem.
No, it has been shocking. I have been blown away by God's kindness. And again, Bo from the Bump, when he gave me a shout out, he had shouted me out on his social media, but he had actually had an episode of his show where, for a solid 3 minutes, just talked up the show and said, you got to check this guy out. I love what he's doing. It's
That's
in
so
the
cool.
same vein as what we talk about here, but he does it totally different. And from a pastoral perspective, he really talked up the show. I was really humbled and but grateful, because I can't tell you how many comments I've read from Spotify, Apple, and YouTube where it's saying, Bo sent me. I came here from the Bump. I came here from the Bump.
That's
So
cool.
super grateful. And I hope to do a collaboration with him at some point. I don't know what that looks like, because I don't have an interview format, but I still might make an exception for him. That would be really cool to
Well,
do that. So
you could actually take one of his stories and then answer the biblical part. Just do a collab.
yeah,
Where like he takes one of his good things, then you make it a little more storytelling, and
Yeah.
then but it's like with them and using voices or whatever the situation is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just talking. This is the creative guy in me. Just
no, but I
blurting
appreciate
out
it.
ideas.
I love it. I love the feedback and the input. You've been doing this a lot longer than I have, for sure.
Yeah, I did the podcast since 2019, and then we during COVID kind of realized that I could definitely do it live. Or right before COVID, we started doing it live, and then editing purposes, it's made my life easier. Instead of spending 4 hours editing the podcast, it's already live. So what's the point of editing it again? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
And so that's what I learned from that situation. But it's funny because I was thinking about this, because I was thinking about, like, it wasn't during was it during COVID or right after COVID that you started doing your own little sermons on online? You were doing like little 15-minute clips or something like that, if I remember
Oh
correctly.
man, yeah. For a while,
Yeah.
I was doing a series on the Psalms, and tackling a psalm or half a psalm on the, and then when you get to some of the long ones, I split it into three. But yeah, I did that for a while. And what's wild is nothing I ever did with social media really gained any traction. But when I started doing this, it was kind of like, wow, this must be it. This was my niche. So um, I,
I mean, but you
I'll
can
take
tell
it.
the difference. Like as a person that's listened to both things,
Yeah.
like I remember watching those and going, "Man, this is cool." But then listening to the podcast, going, "Oh, this is him." You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Like,
absolutely. And I
like,
like that you said this is him, because I did feel when I was trying to do those Psalm videos and whatnot, and I I just felt so, this isn't me. This is not me, but I was really trying to do it for those that there were some in the fellowship in the church body that were struggling to get to church, and wanting additional teaching, and so I was like, well, let me try this devotional style, but it wasn't me. And you can see that. That's why I nuked all that. I took that off the YouTube,
sure.
because it wasn't me. But this oddly enough, I like that you said that, because it truly is, because I see all of my interests and my experiences. It's Romans 8:28. God makes all things work out for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So it's like all this weird stuff about me, even all of the weird things that I like and interests that I've had over the years, how they've all coalesced into this. And I'm excited. I'm excited about where it's at. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm happy for you. I said, as a person, we've never been like super close friends, but I've known you for years, and so seeing you transition to pastoring, doing the other stuff, seeing the videos, seeing the podcast, I just think that's cool. Like, it
yeah,
just watching it from afar, I'm like, oh wow, you can really see the growth of a person, and your beard is killer.
thank you,
As a
thank
person that
you.
has a
It
beard, not as cool as yours,
it took a
but
while to get the wifey to approve. It really did, but I'm
well,
so glad she did.
I'm not allowed to go any farther than about here, or I start looking like my wife's dad, and that obviously is not going to work out for me. So,
Yeah.
um,
See, and for me, it's the other way. So I can't let it go further than this, but if I do shorten it to where, if it's like yours, I'll look like my dad. If I shorten it
yeah.
to that, so she either wants it all the way short, like my rapping days, or just where it is right now. And I'm pushing it right now, but I'm living on the edge. But
That's
I
funny.
prefer to have it. And yes, I tell people, yes, I am overcompensating.
Sure, but that's beautiful. You have a very beautiful beard. As a beard man and who
Thank you,
spent
thank
lots
you.
of time on
Thank you.
his things, that's a beautiful beard. As said as yes, it's good. What was I going to tell you? Yeah. So now it's time for me to make up a song about everything we talked about.
Cool.
Is there anything that you would like me to add? And also, guys watching live, if you want to just put a random word in the comments, I'll try to add that to the freestyle, and you can add that while I'm rapping. Just if you want me to prove that I'm doing this all off the dome, but I am. It's what I do. So if you have a word you'd like me to use, and it's not a curse word or negative word, then I'll use it. So, but there you go. Do you have anything else that you'd like me to mention in the rap, just for funsies?
Oh man. I can't uh, throw in Bigfoot and X Files. There you go.
Done. Now I do have a fun part, mainly because of your hip hop loveness. I'm going to let you choose the beat. I have a few beats from my buddy Joe November, who's an
Fun.
awesome producer out of San Antonio, but's done tons of stuff with some of our favorite Christian MCs. I'm going to name some because I feel like you would enjoy the names. So we got let me think. Let's see if there's any scary sounding ones. Oh, there's Crystal Castles
Okay,
is
I
one of
like
them.
that.
There's Black Lupin. I'm looking for more scary ones. Yeah, and the rest are just numbers. So I'm gonna show you Black Lupin, and I'm gonna show you Crystal Castles, and then and then I might show another one. Here we go. Oh, sorry, you're not gonna be able to hear it because I didn't share the music, or we'll see. Take 1 second. Boom, 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 boom. Can you hear that?
Yep.
Let me turn it down. Ooh, Nephilim. Nice word. Ooh,
Is
those are
this
good
the
words.
Crystal Castles one?
Yeah, the beat will come up in a second.
Okay.
Oh. So that's Crystal Castles, which has a nice little blow. Black Lupin, here it comes. I'm looking at all the words that people put in the comments. There's some good ones.
Nice.
Multiple incursions. Nice.
Oh, yes.
That'll be a fun rap. We'll
Right?
see how I pull that one off. Sorry, the loading takes a little bit when I show this. Oh, this is a good one. They'll have long intros, but
No worries. That's the one.
yeah, you don't want me to show you any others? I'm just gonna randomly pick one. Cautionary tale. Here it comes. But yeah, I think it's that one too.
Can you feel it? I can feel it. I can feel it. It starts in my head. And it starts to move all down to my stomach. It makes me feel cold to the inside.
Black Lupin.
Black Lupin.
Yeah,
Done.
that's the winner.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Hopefully this is a fun one. All right. All right. I have some names. I have some stuff. You didn't add any extra stuff. You said Bigfoot and what was the other one?
X-Files.
X-Files. Done. All right. Well, let me change the... Oh, actually, what do the levels sound like for you? Let's see here. Every single day, but I stand right here. I gotta run back down and I'm feeling the fear. I'm right. Time now, I gotta say what I say. What do you think? Does that sound right or is it too loud?
It sounds good on my end.
All right. And then, hey guys, does that sound like good levels before I start trying to do much? All right. Here we go again. We had a fun time talking about the dancing totem, and I wonder why. We got Ghostbusters chilling, but I never see. I gotta take that little slime, put it back, yes sirree. I don't know where I came from, but I gotta say it through. Did you know what we say? Then we gotta keep it cool. I'm not a Nephilim flying in the sky, but the ride try only if you can't cry. Ooh. But now I get it cause I'm on the floorboard, waiting for the people like the floor door store. Now I knew what we would never take it down time, listening to NF and everybody wanna cry. Sometimes I try beggar when I fly up. Did you understand what we're doing? And then we kick up. We had a fun time talking about the things that he do, how we see him in the Bible and cryptic stube, or even ghost or exorcisms, and sometimes I can't understand them, and I cry with a teardrop rolling down my cheek, and I wonder what I'm doing, and I speak. You got your dancing toaster, I got my life go. You got your dancing toaster, so then I just wanna flow. We got this time multiple incursions, so many different places. Where then? Is it worth them? Am I gonna rack them? Is it something else? And am I gonna stop them? I don't even know what Bigfoot be. How big of a shoe would he wear? Nike? I don't know. Is it 25, 26? Sometimes I can't reminisce, but I gotta spit this. And it's out of that time, only if I bid it, cause I rap upon mine. Yelling out loud like it's never gonna be. I was doing what they're doing and I think I have to pee. Yes sirree, but now it's bigger with the nighttime. Now you take the time with the scriptures that I find. I'm talking about judges every single day. Yeah, there's some weird stuff that happens in the Bible, hey, but we can talk about it if we can't be talking about giants, all those things that can see. And I knew that I'd never break it true with the light time, keeping the right rhymes and true like Harry Beast and Jacob and Esau. I was thinking, do I really want to fall? But I call, looking for the extremely interesting things that I don't even know what I gotta scream. Now it's only time for the night, but so many beats and rhymes I fight. So this is that Dancing Toaster song that I rap right now when I overcome. I said, this is a dancing toaster, and I got a dope little rhyme. I feel this lifetime rapping. Now sometimes I define. There you go.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I am super grateful, and I definitely want to talk outside of the show too, and get some additional tips and feedback. You have a lot of experience in this, so that would be awesome.
No, and again, it was so fun to talk to you. So I was really excited to have you on the show, mainly because as I listened to the show, then I was like, oh well, this is like, we take shots, and sometimes it's just an idea, and it doesn't feel like it's the person, but listening to it, it was like, oh no, this feels like it's his thing, and so it's so cool to see that, and it's fun to talk to somebody and ask them how that became a thing, like how did this become the thing. And again, I try my hardest to do multiple people, so I do different stuff and not just stick with one thing, because if it was up to the people I get on the show, I just have all health coaches. And so it's nice not to have all health coaches.
Yeah.
And I can only ask so many questions about shout out to here's Zay, shout out from the San Antonio 210, misses you, Nelly.
Oh man, I miss him too. My wife, she just recently went back so she could see her mom and her sister. I've only been back once in the last 3 years, almost 4. So I want to go. I want to go back. But my dad, he doesn't live close by anymore. He's still in Texas, but he moved. So if I come back, I don't know if I. Yeah, it might be not in SA, but closer to Dallas. So we'll see.
Do you miss the tamales?
I do. I don't miss the heat. I don't miss the heat. I do miss
the weather
Mexican
out there. Is
food.
awesome.
It's beautiful, except for this rain. I mean, the rain right now is pretty rowdy, because normally we just get it like a little drizzle and I can deal. But right now it's way more than that. So I'm like, chill out. This is not how it's supposed to be. So it's acting a little weird, but hopefully it'll chill out a little bit. But temperature wise, oh man, all day. I get to live in hoodies. I will take that all day. I don't miss the heat at all.
Yeah, no, I that was the one thing I liked about there is the weather was nice compared to Texas, but it's weird. It's weird. Their food truck game is on point, mainly like Portland, which is not far, and so that's fun. But in general, man, thank you so much for talking. And look forward to season 2, and let me do all my normal things. Hey, if you're looking for a new website, make sure you go to nomadweb.design. That's an amazing website for you to get going. They did ours, flows, number 4, letter U.com. If you're looking to be on the show, let me know. Go to the website, send the contact information. We'll make that happen. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you love this thing on Facebook, and let people know about the show. I said I do a live show every Tuesday at 8 p.m. CST, and then we put it on Spotify like on Wednesday or Thursday or whenever I remember. And so that is what's up. I think that's all the things that I normally say for the thing. So thank you again, Nelly. How can people find the Dancing Toaster and all that stuff? I totally forgot about that part.
No worries.
So,
I'm on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. That's where we're at. I mean, we are wherever podcasts can be found right now. Just looking for the Dancing Toaster. That's it. We come up with a single search, and we're season 1 just concluded today. Episode 12 came out and wrapped out season 1. Season 2 starts on Tuesday, January the 7th, and we'll be covering cryptids. And again, find me wherever you find your podcasts, and YouTube is a place where you can go as well. But it's a little boring if you wanted to see something, because you don't get to see anything. It's all audio. But I want to thank you for having me on the show. It's been a lot of fun, and maybe we'll do it again one day.
Yeah. Well, one day maybe you'll be able to do it where it's like a cartoon version of you telling the stories.
Oh man, that'd be cool too. I even having a little animated toaster to
tell the stories.
To tell the story, yeah.
And then you have like the scary animations happening.
Yeah. Who knows, man?
Well, that would actually work well if you started building a following and they started coming to your church, because then you can make mini versions of the thing and actually use it as sermons.
Yeah. Well, in January, I'm hoping to get some logo tees, some dancing toaster tees, some mugs, just little fun stuff because I've got a lot of requests for merch. I want to start with the logo stuff first, and there's been a lot of inside jokes from the first season that will probably hit some merch too. So we'll see. It's so much fun. I'm having so much fun, and I'm glad that so many other people are as well. Please, everybody, continue to like, share, subscribe. It is hard building something from the ground up, and I'm grateful for how quickly it's picked up steam in 3 months. I am blown away, but I'm reaching for the stars. I want this to grow. I got a family to take care of, and Washington's expensive, so
it's not cheap.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah.
Well,
but
guys,
God bless you. Thank you so much.
I hope you have a great night, and thank you again,
too.
Nelly. And stay on the line after the end so we can say bye.
Yep.
And I'm looking for the closing. Well, I think I already set that up. So hopefully it does its thing. If it doesn't, I apologize for the abrupt ending, but it should do the thing it's supposed to do. Here it comes. See y'all later, guys. Peace. Flows for you, flows for you. This is what we do now. This is what we do. Peace.
Are you looking for a different kind of podcast? How about informative and clean? It will make you laugh. Scout and Trey, yeah, that's what we do. We got a little funny thing, keeping it true. Hey, we take your topics and all your ideas and bring in a guest and we answer them there. Then we make a freestyle rap and do it for you. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, that's what we do. Yep, flows for you, flows for you. This is what we do now. This is what we do. Say it flows for you, flows for you. This is what we do now. This is what we do. Say it flows for you, flows for you. This is what we do now. This is what we do. Say it flows for you, flows for you.